Tadi saya bilang,
creating consciousness or creating consciousness in humans. It's recreating it because it itself already has consciousness.
Can you do premise, conclusion? Because I'm not following what you're saying. I don't see the connection.
Like this being, like from what you've said so far, or from what I understand what you said, is that this being or being X has consciousness. It's aware of itself.
Okay, that's premise one. Go ahead.
Okay, so my next premise is that if it is creating, or if it creates everything, then it's creating consciousness in humans.
Okay.
So it's not, and then premise 3 is, so it's not really creating consciousness, it's recreating consciousness because it already has consciousness. And if it's been there since like forever or whatever we're going to say, then there's always been consciousness.
But that third premise, or I guess that would be your conclusion, that in that conclusion, there's a disconnect, because I'm not saying it's the case that it's taking the consciousness that's already there and utilizing it to create other consciousness, or quote unquote recreate, as you're putting it. I'm saying that it would formulate a new one, right?
Right,
Okay,
but
so
relative to that individual.
So separateness is, so our consciousness is different from God's consciousness, essentially. Okay.
because
we could even identify that between each other, right? My consciousness.
No, but I don't mean like we have the same consciousness. I mean like our consciousness, like what consciousness is to us, to human beings, is different from what God's consciousness is to us.
Ours is limited. I can't, for example, when we're talking about this particular thing, and I said that it is all encompassing and all aware of itself, right? It is not it's not the same case for us, right? I'm not all encompassing of myself. I'm not all aware of myself, right? I study psychology, right? We know for a fact that we have different levels of consciousness, and many of them are not things that we can reach. For example, our subconscious, right? For example, our dream state, and so on and so forth. These are all things that we cannot reach as human beings. I would absolutely say that it would be two different types of consciousness.
okay, so then what you're saying essentially, right? So then what you're saying essentially is that X's form of consciousness, he's creating a new form of consciousness,
Exactly.
different
One that is more limited.
from his own.
One that is limited, not from his own. No, not from his own. It is something that it's willing to exist, as we already stated in the premises prior. It wills a separate consciousness that is limited to exist.
No, okay, but if it's not different from his own consciousness, right? And
No, I said it is different.
okay. So you said it is different from his own consciousness.
Absolutely, it would have to be.
Okay, but like what makes, I guess, what would make our consciousness limited but X's not limited?
We can identify the fact that ours is limited, right? I'm giving you, so when we're talking about, when we say, I think I understand your question. Let me see if I grasp it correctly. Okay. So my argument specifically is the fact that X is all aware of itself, right? If it's the case it's not all aware of itself, then it could very easily have a part of itself break off and create the other things that exist, and it would render itself contingent. You understand?
Okay.
What do you mean by all aware of itself?
All aware in the sense that there's no thing that it does not know about itself. It knows all things about itself.
And how do we not know all about ourselves?
We already know that we don't know all about ourselves. We know, for example, that our subconscious, we cannot tap into that. We know, for example, that I don't have any recollection or memory of me being a newborn or me coming out the womb and so on and so forth, right?
See,
we already understand those things.
Right, but
I guess, yeah, but that's like, sorry, you can go first.
Okay, how can we be sure that this X does have that capacity?
Because we're talking about the possibility of its existence. I'm sorry, right? So if it's a case that it exists, it must exist in this manner. Otherwise, it would not be the entity that we're talking about.
And my question is just that, why are we just maybe I missed something, but what does memory have to do with like consciousness? Like consciousness is just being like this, like just
awareness,
pure awareness,
right?
Like just being aware.
No, I don't agree with this idea of pure awareness. I would not say that consciousness is limited to the fact that I can, for example, see the things around me in the present, right? Consciousness is something that's relative to the past, the present, and what is to come as well.
Well, I just mean that's like pure. Like I just mean that it's just like there's not memory or anything construed to it. Like when I'm thinking of consciousness, I'm just thinking of like quote
Like,
unquote like in quotations nonstop seeing, just nonstop experience, just like this like
Yeah, right, but those experiences are a buildup of other experiences as well. For example, for me to get to, like, for example, if I'm sitting on my couch right now, yeah, if I want to move a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left on my couch, right, that would be based off of my current state of consciousness that would affect my future state of consciousness, right, in the sense where I have now shifted from point A to point B on my couch. This idea of it only being in the present is not consistent. Sorry.
oh I don't know what I was implying. I've kind of consciousness is just such a hard thing to grasp.
Okay.
no, yeah, I mean, like, if we're gonna sit here and talk about consciousness, which is like, in and of itself, like, I agree with the whole conception of consciousness is just a constant state of experiencing your surroundings, like being able to experience your
As well
surroundings.
as, wait, but it's also as well as the fact that you can experience the things that you remember, correct? Like I could sit here, for example, and start thinking about the popsicle that I ate last week, and that would be a form of consciousness, correct?
Is that you experiencing your surroundings?
I wouldn't say that it's necessarily for the surroundings, though. Consciousness does not necessitate the fact that it's the surroundings alone, right? It's just the state of being aware of things. Awareness is not limited to only your surroundings. Awareness could also be it that you're thinking about things that happened to you in your past.
Yeah, but then that would be limited to like mental things happening within the brain, like
That's my
chemical.
point. Is that our consciousness is something that is limited.
See, but is it limited? Like, what do you? How
It
does
is
that mean
because it's
consciousness
not
is
the
limited?
case. Because so I'm 22. Okay, I've existed on this world for 22 years. Okay, therefore my awareness is also in that scope of 22 years and however many months and change. Correct?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
and then the problem becomes what? Is that me right now, I can sit here and I could start thinking about things in the past, right? But there's so much so that I could actually think about, right? That occurred to me in my lifetime, right? Like I said to you, I cannot remember when I came out the womb of my mother, right? I cannot remember the first time I was bottle fed or breastfed and what have you, correct?
Yeah, but that's not really awareness. That's memory.
That's a limitation of awareness, right? But memory is something that you could experience in terms of awareness.
But like,
I'm
if the
aware of
brain had the capacity to remember past the age of 3, awareness would be able to perceive it, right? It's the issue that the brain isn't able to remember until or at least remember long term until a
that's
certain age
exactly
of
the point.
development.
That's the point,
Yeah,
though.
so it's a limitation in the. It's not a limitation in consciousness. It's a limitation in the being that the awareness
The
is
awareness of the individual, which
What?
is what I defined as consciousness. Consciousness being that which is the state of being aware of things, right? If I'm not aware of things that occurred to me at one particular moment in time, that's a limitation on myself in terms of my level of consciousness, right?
Well,
Because consciousness, again, that's not only based off of your surroundings. It's based off of your awareness. It's based off of the things that built up your state of awareness today.
no,
That's
right, but I mean,
what I've been defining.
those limitations that you're talking about are limitations of your memory.
And memory, again, memory is a state of being aware of particular things that occurred to you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but it springs
So
forth
it's
out
a
of
level of consciousness.
I mean, it's a level of consciousness that's like
that we cannot reach.
just the interplay between chemical reactions in the brain and then awareness. But yeah, whatever.
Even let's just say, short-term memory. Okay. You could, for example, I can walk into my kitchen right now and I could forget the purpose or the reason as to why I'm walking into my kitchen. For example, let's just say I was going to get a knife and I forget about the fact that I needed to go get a knife. I stay in there for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever. And then I end up remembering that it was that I needed a knife. Yes.
Okay.
Right. And that would be me coming to that awareness That is something that occurred in my consciousness, and it's not necessarily something that disappeared completely, but it is the case that it returned. Yeah, we know about these different levels that occur within our brain.
I guess, but it was the awareness that kind of perceived the brain coming to the conclusion that it wants to come to the knife. Then it comes to the knife. The brain comes to forget what it was thinking about earlier. The awareness is still present. It's still aware of but it's like aware of the brain and forget.
Right, but okay. How about this question, right? Can you have consciousness without memory?
Can you have consciousness without memory? I mean, it's possible, but again, that would be a limitation.
Like people
but hold on a second though. If you can have consciousness without memory, doesn't that separate the two things into two different things?
Not necessarily. It would be something, again, that's interdependent. One does not necessarily have to exist in order for the other to exist, but it is the case that if both exist, they would become something that subsists within each other.
No, yeah, I know, but if you can have something without something else, that puts a wall in between the two of them, and it could make them different from each other.
Okay, so them being different from each other, I would agree with you. They are different from each other. A memory is not the same as my awareness, right? It's only something that I have become aware of. Yes?
Okay.
Okay, so that awareness is exactly what I'm talking about. I can be aware of particular things, right? But I'm not going to be able to be aware of all things pertaining to myself.
So let me just kind of, from what I've understood.
I can even make this simpler. Hold on. I'm sorry. I just want to make it a little simpler, okay? Right now, I'm sitting here, I'm breathing, so on and so forth. Does it necessarily mean that I am aware of all of the particular chemical balances and imbalances that are going around or going on inside of my stomach right now, for example? No. Right? I don't know like how many bubbles there are in my stomach or anything of the sort. I'm not aware of this particular process that's going on in my stomach, but it is something that's going on in there. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so that's exactly what I mean, is that I'm not all encompassing. I'm not all aware of myself.
Okay, so from what I've got this is that like if it's not a lack of awareness being able to observe something, it's a lack of abilities to come to being aware of something, right? Like if you had, say, an eye that was inside of your stomach, you could see how many bubbles there were, but you don't. It's a limitation in the tools that awareness used to perceive things, but not a necessary limitation in awareness.
It is something that is a limitation, because it is the case that it is myself. And in the case of entity X that we were talking about before we got into this, right, I was making the point that it is aware of all things that occur to itself, right, or because nothing occurs to it, quote unquote, right, and it is aware of all things that would occur external to itself as well, right, external being the things in which it creates.
No, right. I mean, like I understand that. Just my whole issue is like, it's just me who maybe thinks this, but I think it's important to understand the how, because that kind of adds, because if we don't know the how, we can apply this to anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Yes, okay, so you can do that, right? Logically speaking, you can apply this quote unquote concept or this idea of a deductive argument to anything that you want to quote unquote validate of its existence. Yeah. But it's not the case that everybody has to quote unquote accept this. But what I'm positing to you is that I'm getting rid of all of the other possibilities or the other options whilst also presenting to you the argument, right? Leaving it as the only probable and reasonable explanation at the moment. Right? That probable and reasonable explanation can change, but if we're going based off of a particular methodology, in which case we accept the probable and reasonable explanation till something else comes, which is what science does, as we agreed before, right? Then this would be the proper line of methodology that we use for it.
No, right. But I mean, if with this argument, you're trying to prove whatever it is you're trying to prove, whether there's a higher power or not, again, since you can use this for absolutely anything, it doesn't really prove anything.
Okay, so let's break it down then. Okay, so can I deductively prove to you, right, that a unicorn exists? I can, right? There's no contradiction in the existence of a unicorn, correct?
I mean, like a physical unicorn?
Like a real, like, let's just say like I tell you right now, a unicorn just walked right past me, right? Is there a contradiction in that statement? Or is there a contradiction in the existence of that unicorn?
Yes.
What's the contradiction?
The fact that we've pretty much, humanity has spread all over the earth, essentially, at
No,
this point.
I'm saying hypothetically speaking. I'm just saying, let's just say the only unicorn in existence, right? Nobody's ever seen it before. It just walked past me. What is the contradiction in that?
I mean, you would have to prove its existence.
Okay, but I'm not saying that I
Possible
have to
for a
prove it to
unicorn
you.
to exist.
What was that? Sorry, simply go ahead.
Is it impossible for a unicorn to exist?
Exactly, that's the question.
Yeah, sorry,
Right.
I didn't mean to butt in, but
No, yeah.
I had to say it.
That's the simpler way to
What
ask it. Yeah.
perspective are you talking about? Like an evolutionary
No, yeah,
perspective?
right, like-
or
I'm
you're
just
talking
saying,
about like a horse?
in terms of the properties that it consists of, right? Is it impossible for it to exist? A quote unquote horse with a horn and wings on its back. Is that impossible for it to exist?
I mean, the wings. If it's a horse, it'd be.
It's not a
wings
horse.
would
It's not a horse. It's a quote. I said quote unquote because that's the shape that people usually give to it, right? But I'm not saying it is a horse.
No, right. So you're like kind of saying that this hypothetical unicorn is like a magical sort of being.
I never said anything
No.
about that. I'm just saying that
Well,
it's
like if
Go
you
ahead.
were to able to give me the dimensions, the weight, the mass, the wingspan, and all that kind of stuff,
I
I
don't
could
need to do all that.
conclude
I'm
whether it's
simply
probable that it could exist. Because if it weighs like 300 pounds and it has like a tiny little wingspan, the wings wouldn't.
Again,
like,
even
what's
if that's the
purpose of
case,
the
even
wings?
if that's the case, I never said that the wings have to be utilized or anything of the sort. All I'm simply saying, right, given that I tell you that this unicorn exists, right, I'm asking.
Sure, let's say the
what would
unicorn does exist. Like,
be-
let's
so,
just say
so I'm asking, is it impossible for it to exist?
it's not impossible. But,
Exactly. Okay. But is there any reason as to why you would choose to believe that it does?
no, I wouldn't adjust my life to
beautiful.
believing in a unicorn.
But in the
I-
argument, and in the argument that we're making right now, there is a reason as to why you would choose to believe in the more probable and reasonable understanding, because we are trying to understand a particular understanding of why the universe exists in the state of affairs that it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You understand, Liberta?
Yes. Yes.
Right. I think we delved off into a lot, I can't lie.
I mean, I understand like where you're coming from a certain degree, but like the way that I'm sort of like conceptualizing all of this information is that all the points that you're making are just like there's nothing that's like guaranteeable behind it.
But would you agree that everything I've posed to you so far is more probable and reasonable than the things that I've negated for you?
Right, but you've only negated like
My
a few different things.
I mean, I also asked you if there's anything else that you want to bring up.
No, right. No, I know. I'm agreeing because I wanted to see where you took this, like took this whole thing. Like my opinion on this whole matter, like since I don't know if we're done talking about it because we've kind of spun off a lot. But if you want to continue, we can continue. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
I mean, I just want to ask, is that essentially, if it's the case that I'm posing to an argument, okay, and there is no other possibility in terms of, or at least a possible and reasonable understanding or possibility, right, of anything else being in the way that it is for this particular argument, why would you reject it if it's the case that it's the more probable and reasonable one?
Right, but
Go ahead.
it's the more probable reason based on how many different reasons.
Based on all of them, right? I asked you if you have a better argument or a better subpoint to the argument to propose it, right? As I was going down the line. If it's the case that there is no other one, right, then we would continue down the line. And if you agree with all of the premises and the conclusions, right, and you agree with the final premises and conclusions, then it would necessitate the idea that you should take this into account as the more the reasonable explanation as to why we exist for the time being at the very least, because that is the methodology that we're going by.
I just wonder, why does this necessarily imply like kind of like a like normally when people think of like I don't know if we're gonna bring God into this, but just why does this necessitate the idea of this being like what most people think of when they think of God? Like, how do you know that this just isn't an impersonal force that just brings about this?
Well, I mean, my argument doesn't stop here, right? Like, I had a whole bunch of other points, but I honestly, like, I think we've gotten into a lot, and I kind of took over the brother's live as well, so.
Wait, Itachi, before you go, I have a really quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Al-Haqiq one of the names of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
I'm not sure. I know that he is called a Sadiq al-Amin, which is similar to that, but I've not heard that before. Why?
Because I've looked at Isaiah 43 verse 10, and I went to the Hebrew and I tried to translate it, and it comes up as fi al-haqiq.
No, fi al-haqiqa is not the same. Like, because the word that you said isn't a word to my knowledge, right? Al-haqiqa is a thing, right? It's not a description.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to like do more research throughout the Old Testament, the New Testament. Walaikum assalam. And I'm trying to like find even deeper meanings, because I know he's prophesied in the older scriptures, but I'm trying to find just that undeniable proof. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay. If I may, Al-Haqiq is not one of the names of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because we have, if I may, I'm sorry, I don't want to speak over anyone, but we have authentic hadith in Sahih Muslim where Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لي خمسة أسماء أنا محمد وأنا أحمد وأنا الماحي الذي يمحو الله به الكفر وأنا الحاشر الذي يحشر الناس على قدمي وأنا العاقب والعاقب الذي ليس بعده نبي وقد سماه الله رؤوفا رحيما. So what was the name that you asked? What was the name you asked? If that was no.
I don't even think that's a thing.
Yeah, so the names that he himself, peace and blessings be upon him, said in authentic hadith in Sahih Muslim, Muhammad, Ahmad, Al-Mahi, Al-Hashir, yeah, and Al-Aqib. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala added in the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called Muhammad Ra'ufan Rahima, بعث فيهم وبعث في الأميين منهم وبعث في الأميين رسولا رؤوفا رحيما, which is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But those are the 5 names, my brother. So Al-Haqiq is not a name of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Ita, can I ask you another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, is this like are you what's your faith, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a Muslim.
Okay, so is this something like an argument that you use to prove God exists? Yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I use this argument specifically to prove that the Islamic God is the only one that could exist.
Oh, okay. So then my question is with this sort of argument, again, you can use this to say, a monkey, is up there or whatever. You can use this for anything.
Sure, but we would have to talk about the implications of this particular thing, right? Like, that's why I'm asking you to question me. Like, I actually appreciate the fact that you and Ma over here, right, were actually questioning me through the thing, and we could discuss with each other and agree or disagree and so on and so forth and move past it, right? That's all.
Right. I mean, like, I guess like my question to you is that if with your argument, let's say I'm saying with your argument that I think X, the being is, a unicorn who's done all of this. How could what I'm saying be wrong?
Okay.
Using your logic.
So is there any reason as to, the way that my argument would work, is first, I would get us to agree with the final premise, in which case it would be a particular thing, right, that exists, that has particular attributes, okay? And then I would link it to what? To the Quran, right? Because the Quran essentially would have the same particular things that I'm talking about right now, and I would show you that it has these similar things in what I'm talking about right now, right? The thing that is being described in the Quran, right? It's called, we call it God, right? We call it Allah, right? If I show you that it's the case that Allah has these particular attributes and so on and so forth, and as well as the text itself being something which is consistent, something which does not go against logic and so on and so forth, right? You'd have, again, no reason to reject it being the thing that is being spoken about that I'm talking to right now. Because essentially the argument I'm making, though obviously it's not verbatim coming from the Quran, right? It is concepts which are spoken about in the Quran, in the sense where something cannot be created from nothing, something cannot come into existence on its own, and so on and so forth, right? These are all like specific concepts that are coming from the Quran, right? It's
No,
just
right.
things
I
I've
mean,
expanded upon.
yeah, like, okay.
Like essentially, let me just get to the final part of your
Yeah, yeah,
question. I would have no purpose, or I would have no reason to assume that this thing is now what you would call a unicorn, right? Right. There's nothing telling me that this quote unquote thing is a unicorn. There's no book that says that. It's just you on your own saying it for whatever particular reason that you have, right? But it's not some sort of objective reason as to why I would accept it.
Okay. Let's say, okay,
Before
because
your question, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm gonna drop
Actually,
down.
do you mind giving?
Yeah, go ahead.
Walaikum salam. Actually, do you mind giving like a quick reset? Just like I came in late, so I'm not sure what has been discussed so far.
So
we're based. Go ahead.
yeah. So we kind of went through like the first stage contingency argument of like just things that exist must necessarily have some sort of external explanation as to why they exist. This external explanation must come to some sort of middle ground or stop, in which case this final thing would be non-contingent and so on and so forth. I think you're aware simply of the first stage. And then the second part of the argument was just like my own thing that I came up with, in which case I was discussing that the fact that if it's the case that this thing exists, it must necessarily have at least one property in order to describe its existence. If it doesn't have anything to describe its existence, we might as well say that it's not something that exists, right? And then from there, I went into the fact that if it's the case that it exists, it must necessarily be aware of its own existence in order to bring other things into existence. The reason why it brings other things into existence is because the other two modes of bringing things into existence would be either breaking a part of itself, either breaking a part of itself off, thus rendering it contingent, or something else existing with it, which would break the whole line of premises that we were going through prior, based off of Occam's razor and so on and so forth, and then going into the consciousness of it, intention, and so on and so forth. I didn't get to finish though, but I don't think we're gonna get through all of this today, man.
I just have two more things that I want to ask you.
Real one sec, Liberta. Simply good enough of a summary. I'm sorry. Like it was a lot.
That's good. That's good. I just want to, because like he asked the question like why can't that necessary being be a pink unicorn?
Yeah.
So I'm like, why would you even like think that a pink unicorn could possibly be the necessary being? But continue the conversation. I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, good. What's the question, Liberta?
Okay, so I kind of wanted to touch on what the other person just said about the whole pink unicorn theory, right? So my whole purpose of saying that is because if with your logic, right, like you're saying X is like the being that, you know, knows everything, whatever, like what you said, and it wills itself to create things, right? So how do we know that like this being isn't whatever it wants to be, or like whatever it is?
But you're going off of what you're trying to explain already. The things that require explanation would not lead you to a unicorn, though.
If it's like, let's put it this way too. If it's the case that you just label it as quote unquote pink unicorn, but you're not using like what we understand as a unicorn to be, that would be one thing, right? But if you're saying it's a literal unicorn in the sense where it's made up of particular parts and particles and so on and so forth, I would disagree with you. And that just simply goes against like the first part of what we were talking about.
Okay.
I would go as far as to say, because obviously, I mean, I again, like most of my arguments would come from the Quran. I would go as far as to say that this thing that we're describing is the only thing that exists in the way that it does, right? So there's nothing that would be comparable to it.
Okay. The second thing I want to say is I kind of want to talk about very briefly like pagan gods. So, for example, right? Why can't like back, hundreds of years ago, these ancient civilizations like the Aztecs, the Greeks, all these different civilizations, they believed in like each god controlled a different sector of, like I guess you could say the universe. So like you had the sun god, the moon god,
Sure, yeah.
all those different gods, right? Why can't that logic that you presented apply to each one of those different gods?
Because it breaks Occam's razor, right? I already posited to you, right, the fact that the simpler explanation would be much more viable than the more complex one. Yeah. The simpler explanation being 1 as opposed to 2 or 3 or 4. The more that you add to it, right, the more that it becomes unlikely or less probable, you could say.
There was just purely hypothetical here. If there was one that was like, rather than it being 1, it was 0. Would that just mean using that logic you would go to the 0 rather than the 1?
No, 0 would be non-existence. We wouldn't.
Yeah, I know, but like if it was more logical to like say assume, like just hypothetically, if there was a theory that encompassed basically everything that you said before, it didn't violate anything that you said before. But
no, it did. It does.
The assertion
if we say that it's 0, if we make the assertion
of an independent.
No, I know, but he's saying as like a hypothetical, like.
Yeah, but the hypothetical wouldn't work though. But go ahead if you want to expand. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just meant that you had certain like logical points that came to your conclusion that there is some sort of independent thing. If there was a way to basically a way to prove that it was that there could be something that didn't accompany the existence of a God, so that would mean 0 or nothingness. Would you then go to the 0? Like the more simple answer would be 0 rather than 1.
Okay, but how would it be the case? This would go back to the first question that I asked, right? Is it the case that it's possible that existence can come from non-existence, that it could go from 0 to 1 without anything happening between? It just poof, it becomes from 0 to 1. Is that possible?
Like, what do you mean by like poof? Like, are you talking about like kind of like
so something that has a beginning? Something that has a beginning has no cause for its beginning. Is that possible?
I mean, doesn't God have no cause for its beginning?
Well, God
doesn't have a beginning.
Sorry, yeah, not having a beginning is not the same as not.
Right, but again, like how do you? Okay, there's 2 things I want to ask, right? So the first thing is that 1. How do we know for certain, right? I mean, like we can come up with all these different like explanations.
I never said for certain. I never said the statement of for certain. The entire time I've said the more probable and reasonable understanding, which is what we go off of, based off of, even if we were going to take it from a scientific perspective, that is consistent with the methodology that we use. I never said that it is 100%. I'm saying it is, even if it's the case that it's 99.9999% and so on and so forth, right? I would take that 99% over something that is 85, over something that is 70 or 60 or even 99.8, right? It would be more logical to take that one because
no, right? But I mean, like if we're talking about the existence of God, right? Like. Okay. It wouldn't really matter if it's 99 or 98, right? It's either God exists or he doesn't.
Okay, right? But again, if it's the case we're talking about the state of affairs of the universe and its explanation as to why it exists, okay? And part of the explanation, or let's say there's 2 explanations, okay? 2 explanations that are posited. One in which God does exist and the other in which God does not exist. Okay, these are the 2 explanations that are essentially put on the table between theists and atheists, right? And then you have the agnostics in the middle who are not sure, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if it's the case that one position is more viable than the other one based off of the premises and conclusions, would you then go and pick the non-viable position or the viable one?
No, yeah, obviously I would pick the viable one, but like,
Exactly.
if I may interject for just a second, part of the reason why I do believe in evolution as opposed of what religion tells me is because earlier you mentioned this whole like sort of like poof thing, or like how does things happen, right? Science is a theory, right? It's a theory. It's something that humans, we think this is how things happen, right? We at least have some sort of explanation as to concretely how things happen, right? Religion kind of does it as like a, like I picture it as like God kind of appears and then he kind of poofs us all into, like there's no like explanation.
Okay, so if it's the case that he just appears, religion does not believe that he just appears. We believe that he has eternally existed there, right?
Right, but how does he get,
So again,
Let me just jump in there. Sorry about that. I think we've gone
go
round
ahead.
in circles here, but I just want to say this so I can like come off. But I wanted to piggyback off the consciousness stuff that you was talking about. And
Just because we're not on consciousness, you can ask that after though.
yeah, is it all right if we go back to that, because I think we're just going around in circles.
In a minute. Let's just wrap up this part and then we could go back
I
to
don't
that.
think he's gonna get it though, is he?
what?
Yeah, but we're not going to cut off like a whole conversation just for the sake of going back to a different part of it. So
It's fine. Be patient too.
yeah. Sorry, Liberta. Okay, so yeah, it's not the case that we believe that something just popped into existence and all of a sudden created other things, right? Because it would violate what? It would violate multiple things, actually, but specifically the 0 equals 1 thing that I was posing to you. Yeah,
Yes.
right. So it wouldn't be the case that we believe that God just popped it or started to exist or anything of the sort, right? It would be the case that he always necessarily, eternally, and independently existed. Right.
No, right. But
Yeah.
yes.
Go ahead.
For something to exist, doesn't it need something to create it to make it exist?
No. So if it's the case that it eternally exists without a cause, no, it would not. It has no beginning. If something is eternal, that means it has no beginning, no end, correct?
Right, but again, I mean, we're just like speculating all of this.
But again, it's part of the argument that we're talking about. We discussed this in the first part. This is the part that we reiterated multiple times, right? The non-contingent thing, right? Yeah. If it's the case, we have box B. Again, let's go to the box example, yeah. Box B is the set of all things that depend upon another thing to exist, okay? Box B entirely is made up of dependent things, right? It requires an external explanation to explain why it is the case that box B exists, right? I never said how, but specifically why it exists.
Okay.
Right.
So if evolution is part of this box, even if we say evolution is part of this box, you need an explanation that's to explain this process. Anything within this box is contingent and requires an explanation. And your explanation has to explain everything.
Okay.
And the explanation cannot be itself contingent because it would be inside the box. It wouldn't be outside the box.
Exactly. We would call it non-contingent.
Okay.
Do you understand that point? Because that point's
Yes.
important.
No, yes, I do understand it.
Because if we're talking about the box that has all of the contingent things, right? Whatever explains that box cannot be contingent, because if it were contingent, it would be inside the box to begin with. So it has to be non-contingent, i.e. necessary.
Yeah, we had to go back to that one a couple times.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to continue this now. I know somebody else wanted to ask a question, but feel free to follow me. I could follow you as well, and we could continue some other time if you'd like as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to go back, whoever wants to go back to consciousness, that's a very interesting topic. We can go back to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't mean to be rude. Like that topic that you guys were talking about is pretty like if you're not used to it or you haven't heard the terms before, it'll be difficult for you to maybe grasp it straight away. So I'm not being rude. But what I was gonna say, I was having a conversation yesterday and it was regarding the Quran. And basically, we were talking about whether the Quran becomes conscious. And
I mean,
I mean, can I also? I mean, this is something that.
Does the Quran become conscious?
yeah, because basically, sorry, let me just add to that because maybe I've just thrown that out of nowhere. So basically, in the day
are
of
you Muslim,
judgment.
by the way? Are you Jewish?
No, I'm Christian.
Oh, you're a Christian? Okay. I have a question after. I want to ask everybody, if you don't mind.
Okay, so let me just finish what like my thought. So basically, the conversation was regarding whether the Quran becomes conscious, and from the conversation you guys were having, I think the Quran does become conscious because I don't have the sources on me, but we got to the point of showing that the Quran will testify or will serve like some sort of mediator between
so
God.
you're talking about a specific hadith, right? In which case the Quran, it says that the Quran will testify for you on the day of judgment. Yes.
Correct.
Right. And it also talks about, and it also talks about in that same hadith, the fact that your fasting will testify for you on the day of judgment. Now, this testimony is not in the case in which, for example, that the book is literally going to start speaking on your behalf, right? We're talking about the fact that the actions that you did in this lifetime are the things that are going to be made aware in the afterlife, right? On the day of judgment. That's all that means.
Yeah, all right. Okay, just to build on that, because there was other hadith brought up. It wasn't Sahih hadith, but it was like some Hassan hadiths of where the Quran.
Okay, so let's make something clear. If you're going to bring some sort of
we don't have to like what I'm saying now is
no. One second. What's important for a conversation when it comes to specific source text is that you do bring the reference, right? So that we could all read it and have it presented in front of us and so on and so forth. But we don't just go based off of speculation, based off of just like what you heard or what you think you heard and so on and so forth. So speculative. If you do refer to something, do bring the reference, right?
Yeah, no, that's
but
terrible.
But just so you know, no, we don't believe that the Quran somehow becomes personified.
Okay.
And becomes personified and then gains some type of consciousness and then sort of advocates for us on the day of judgment. That's not what we believe as Muslims.
Who's gonna advocate if it can't talk? Like, is it like a Disney movie? Is it
No, we don't believe that. He just said we don't believe.
No, this just basically means that
this is a conversation that was being had because it was detailing the Quran actually bringing like reciting, like going back and saying that you recited
does not
me.
say that it starts reciting or anything of the sort. All it says is that the things that you partook in, for example, reading the Quran, for example, fasting and so on and so forth, the actions that you took on earth are things that are going to be used in terms of a testimony that you yourself are going to give, right? So, for example, when it says that your tongue is going to speak on your behalf, it's not the case that your tongue is now going to gain a mouth and so on and so forth. It's in the case of understanding the language, right? The language is simply implying the fact that you're not going to be, quote unquote, forcing yourself to do this, right? Or it's going to be the case that it's going to be something that comes without you actually allowing yourself to do it, right? Like me right now, right? I'm allowing myself to speak, right? It's not the case that I'm being forced to do it or anything of the sort, right? In the other case, what you're talking about specifically, a testimony coming on your behalf based off of your actions, is that these things are going to willingly come out of you to testify about yourself, right? By the will of God, obviously. So.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. But so, this was so informal of me. I was just trying to get like some.
I'm sorry, by the way, if I'm coming off rude or anything. It's just it's just my talk. So
it's fine. It's fine because basically, I'll let you know like where I was coming from or where the conversation was going. Because
hopefully it's clear now, though.
Yeah, no, I understand. You guys are saying that it's not conscious because basically, we understand that the Sunni position is that the Quran is eternal, right?
Okay, let me give you an example from you said you're a Christian, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'll give you an example of a reference. Okay. In the Bible, God says that a particular rock is going to testify on your behalf, right? When the time comes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a verse that says that. Does it literally mean that the rock is going to gain a mouth and so on and so forth and testify in regards to the fact that you were present at a particular moment in time? No, it's just going to be a simple quote unquote thing, in which case, if you have the recollection of it, right, you're going to be able to refer to that particular rock, the fact that you were there, and so on and so forth. Yes.
But is the miracle not that the rock becomes conscious for that minute or two, or while it's testifying?
You believe that the rock is going to become conscious?
Dude, if we're sitting here talking about inanimate objects becoming conscious, I think we can all agree that like.
Well, I mean, I would agree with you that I don't believe that inanimate things are going to become conscious. I think our friend here might think different. So,
If a rock started talking to me, bro, I think I would be like.
Oh well.
so wait. I want to understand you. I want to understand you, Jews and friends, right?
Yeah.
Do you believe that this verse in the Bible, where it says that the rock will testify on your behalf, do you believe that the rock is literally going to testify in the fact that it's going to gain a mouth and so on and so forth and speak for like 2 minutes?
Yeah, if somebody was to tell me that it becomes conscious, I wouldn't see it as a big deal. I would see it as that is the miracle that the rock became conscious and is testifying.
Okay. Anyway, Liberta, what's the
that's
question that you
fine.
wanted
But
to ask me?
I wanted to ask. I mean, it's now good that we have a Christian and we have different groups, because I wanted to ask, using your past logic with the whole X thing, like what makes Christianity in the eyes of a Muslim wrong or incorrect, and vice versa?
Okay. So given the premises that I gave specifically, and the fact that I would also be able to delve into the Christian theology, so on and so forth, and show the inconsistency within it, but specifically for my argument, we spoke about the again, Occam's razor, law of parsimony, so on and so forth, right? In this case, where we're talking about one necessary being, right, it would not be the case of the Christian God. The Christian God is 3 necessary persons, correct?
I mean, they believe in one God like you guys do.
They believe in one essence, right? One essence that is shared between 3 persons. So they believe in 3 necessary persons.
Right, but no, but
they allege that they believe in one God, but like
no, right,
if
but
you
hold on a second though. Is it not entirely possible that those 3 beings can't be part of one God?
not in the way they formulate their
No,
belief,
right,
not in the
but
way they formulate the doctrine of the Trinity.
right, but again, it can't be something that's impossible, can it?
Okay, but is it the
It
more
is
probable?
actually impossible. It's a logical
How?
problem.
How?
I mean, we can get to
We
it,
can
but
get
I
into the
mean,
wouldn't say
logical problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, if we're gonna say that, I mean, anything is relatively possible, yes?
No,
No.
not anything. No,
But
not
specifically, if you're asking why Christianity is false from an Islamic point of view, it's simple, right? Like if you believe Islam is true, then you believe that the Quran is true. The Quran condemns polytheism. Christianity is polytheism, right? The Quran specifically condemns condemns the Trinity by saying that basically professing the Trinity or believing in the Trinity is associating partners with God, and that we shouldn't be doing it. It specifically rebukes the claims about Jesus being crucified. So the doctrines of what's it called? The salvation, well, whatever, like
I know.
atonement of sin, the doctrine of atonement. It specifically rebukes that. It rebukes the incarnation, obviously. We don't believe that Jesus is God. We believe that he was a prophet. So, like, these things necessarily, like, they go in contradiction with Christianity. But also, we have
I mean,
other reasons. Yeah, but we have other reasons outside of Islam that lead us to believe that Christianity is false. And like Sister Itachi was mentioning, so.
Yeah, it like theologically might, like disagree, but again, is it entirely impossible that these 3 spiritual beings can be a part of one God?
Yeah, I
Yes,
don't
it is
think
impossible.
Yes.
Based off of if you go into the logical problem of the Trinity, yes, it is impossible.
Like some of the examples in the Bible, like he said, "Ella, Ella, Ella sabachthani," God, oh my God, why have you forsaken me? He was
N-
speaking to somebody.
Not
He
not
also
not
bowed
even
down.
that. Not even that, Akhi.
No,
Just
I'm just
even if
saying
we're
that
not to take
he's there,
scripture. Yeah, go ahead.
right,
Go ahead.
but he was speaking to somebody else. He was obviously there's something else that's being, because he's trying to say it's one essence,
I
but it's
think,
not.
yeah, but I think it's good to like Itachi, if you want to break down the LPT for them, just so that they can be familiar with it.
So I've been
I
talking
think that would be good.
I'm kind of parched. So you go ahead into that simply. That's your field. But what I want to say is that it's better not to stick to scripture. It would actually be better to just talk about the theology in and of itself. But I'm gonna hand it to
Yeah,
Simply or Safe here if they want to go into it.
yeah, the theology. That's why I don't go into scripture. I stick with the theology as well. And if you know what
Can I just butt in here and just add?
dependent things and independent things are, you would
No
recognize
problem.
when they depict their idea of how they understand God and how they like the titles and identity that they give God makes them out to be dependent and contingent and not necessary.
Okay, but okay. So we have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? They're like beings, right? But they're not physical beings necessarily. I mean, Jesus.
I know, but do you believe that the
They're
Son
not
is eternally
beings.
begotten
It's
from the Father?
one being, three persons. But because we're talking
Yeah,
about
but
like the oneness of God, I also wanted to bring up that the Tawhid, yeah, because you guys, yeah, because you guys believe in oneness, and you have like, I don't know if you guys believe like the 99 attributes are distinct from God.
Okay, hold on. We can go there, but let's just stick to Liberto.
No, yeah, and
It's
I
kind of
also want to
developing
like
Christianity.
say that I am not a Catholic. I don't believe in that. I was just curious based on like like the arguments. I was just curious as to what makes a Jew wrong and a Muslim right.
Yeah, let me give you an argument based on the Trinity. Let me ask you this, okay? Yeah, exactly. Consistency, coherency, logic, reasoning. So I'll ask you this: like, do you believe? Okay, so like, what do Trinitarians believe about the Trinity? They believe in three co-equal, co-eternal persons within one being. Correct?
I would argue within. They say one God.
Okay, one God, one being, right?
Yes.
That being happens to be God, so one being. Okay, you want to say one God, that's fine. But that's the point. So they're co-equal, co-eternal. So
Yeah.
if they are co-equal, co-eternal, what makes them distinct?
What makes them the same?
Distinct.
Oh, distinct. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. So as far as my knowledge, I mean, I used to be a Catholic. I used to know about that. I used to practice. But
It's in
Just
their role.
relax. Jews, come on, man, relax for two.
I thought this
2
guy's
seconds.
an atheist, so it's just a bit weird. Like,
But he's asking questions. He seems
no,
to
no.
be a truth seeker. So like whether he's an atheist or a Buddhist, I believe we should entertain his curiosity, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
go on.
I just he
And
said,
if I misrepresent Christianity, Jews, you can go ahead and correct me, but I'm not gonna do so.
I'm just,
so yeah. I also want to. I don't know who said that. I'm contradicting. I used to be whatever. I used to believe in institutional religion. I don't anymore. I'm not switching my position on anything.
That's fine, but just yeah, go on.
So the Holy Spirit is sort of like it's from the Catholic point of view. It is a part of God that guides us to Him. Right. That's my understanding. The Father is obviously. Jesus and the Father are the same. Jesus is just God's flesh incarnation.
Okay, so you believe that Jesus is the Father on earth?
If Jesus and God are the same people, then yes.
No, hold on. I'm not talking about Jesus and God. I'm talking about Jesus and the Father.
Yes.
Do you believe that they are the same person?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't believe in a Trinity, or like you're not talking about a Trinity here. You're talking about a binity. right? Or binity, whatever you want to call it, dynity. Because you're talking about the Son and the Father being one person, and the Holy Spirit being the second person. There's no third person, right? But anyways, that's like you can say that the Holy Spirit is distinct from the Father and the Son because the Holy Spirit is what guides us within creation. But I'll ask you this. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. But I'll ask you this. So what about prior to creation, apart from creation? Because obviously you're talking about eternal being, like eternal persons. So they were three before creation existed. So what made them distinct? What makes them distinct prior to creation? So you can't tell me that their relationship with creation is what makes them distinct, i.e. the Son dies on the cross and the Holy Spirit guides humans after, or guides Christians after the Son leaves.
I mean, if we're gonna go off like the premise of God knows all and God is all knowing and all that stuff, right? We could, before creation, like as you said, we could foresee, since God is all knowing, He knows what's gonna end up happening with the world. He knows what's gonna, He knows everything He's gonna do and how everything is gonna turn out. So He would already be able to foresee that He would put His Son on earth and all this stuff.
Well, let me ask you something.
No, just one second, Saifuddin, if you don't mind. Okay, so, but you do realize, so do you think that creation is necessary, or do you think creation is contingent?
Like as a necessary, do you mean like things need to be created, as in like we need to be here or we don't need to be here?
So yes, creation in general. Like, do you think God had to create, or He didn't have to create?
I mean, I don't think He needed to if He didn't want to.
Okay, exactly. So creation is contingent. So now you're tying the distinction between the three persons to something which is contingent.
Okay.
And that would obviously mean that the distinctions between them are contingent. They're not necessary. And therefore, like, why three? Why stop at three? Why not one? Why not two? It's just arbitrary. It's contingent. The relationship has to be necessary. And so Christians have a way of, like they would say that the Son is begotten, and that's how you distinguish the Son from the Father. And the Spirit spirates from the Father, or proceeds from the Father. So you sort of distinguish the Father and the Spirit and the Son from the Father, but you can't really distinguish the Spirit and the Son from themselves. So like there are those types of nuances that, like this is just one argument that I have against the Trinity, but like I have maybe like 4 or 5, 6 other arguments against them.
Yeah, my argument would be against you, yourself, the person that holds the position. Because I'm talking like if you hold the position of a Christian, I would see consistent. I would assume you would be consistent in your beliefs, right?
Yes, I mean, sure.
Right. So if I ask you, do you believe God is a father, or is He a son? And if He is a son, is He a son of Himself, or is He a son of another divine being that's called the Father?
I mean, but again, I could also say that God can be whatever He wants to be.
That's not. You can't literally can't say that can be a contradiction.
Can God be a mouse?
No, right, but I mean, God supersedes all logic, does He not?
No, but a contradiction cannot exist.
I mean, I agree with you, but I'm sort of taking this from like their point of view. Like they would say to you, like, God's all powerful, God's all knowing, He can literally do whatever He wants.
Yeah, but does God have a father?
If God wants to have a father, He could have one.
They don't agree, by the way. No, they would say there are some things that God cannot do. For example, God cannot cease to exist.
Really? God can have a father, though?
Yeah, how can He have a father?
I mean, again, I've been in many arguments with people who believe these types of things, they're very adamant. They're like, God can do whatever he wants, and if God wants to do,
But the thing is, if you hold the belief that God is independent, and then you contradict in the same hand, the same belief, you contradict that very belief, then you're contradicting yourself. You're not being truthful.
yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'm not, fighting. Like, I'm not a
Muslims
believer.
are just telling people, hey, let's not disagree amongst ourselves. Let's appeal to an external criteria outside of our opinions and feelings, and agree upon that. And in order for us to agree upon it, we would have to validate it and have knowledge of it. For example, like a 12-inch ruler or a measuring tape. We appeal to these things, these tools outside of ourselves to measure things with. We don't argue over what we think the measurements are. So we're saying the same thing in regards to the reality of God.
No, right. I mean, look, like, do you believe God is all powerful?
Yes, I believe God is
Yes.
all powerful.
Okay, so if God is all powerful, why can't God make himself cease to exist?
Okay, God, right, exists with set attributes that make him who he is, right?
No, yeah,
Which
I know.
right. If he has any caps, limitations on these attributes of his, or they contradict each other, he cannot be God. This is the point. God
No,
is
I know,
God
and
because he is
that's the
necessarily.
point that
Hold on.
I'm making.
But
If
this is what
God,
I'm telling you. There is no possibility because something that necessarily exists cannot
right,
exist another way.
right, but again, like if God can't make himself not exist anymore, then he's not all powerful.
That's not what
No,
I'm telling
no.
you. That's not how it works.
He cannot
What
go
we're
against
saying,
his nature.
right? You cannot possess a contradictive nature and exist to begin with.
No, I know, and that's
He
totally
can make you cease not to exist anymore, but
Right.
what you're saying
But
don't
what
make
does
no sense, man.
But you saying that you existing and not existing at the same time, this cannot happen.
Yeah, and
no
this is stemming from your flawed understanding of all powerful. How do you understand all powerful?
all powerful. At least the way I understand it is that your power supersedes everything.
Okay, it supersedes everything, but can it cause, for example, can it cause logical contradictions to come into existence?
God's power, according to Christians, right, can literally, logic doesn't matter. None of this matters. God's will and power can destroy all of
But
this.
then
Yeah, we
you're
don't
neglecting.
understand. Yeah.
But then you're neglecting the other attribute of his, which is all knowing.
Yeah, but we
Right. So
also
then,
don't understand what that means. Like, when you say that, like, can supersede everything. I don't really understand what that means. For us, all powerful means he is competent over all things. Okay, so he can do everything. He can do anything. And
right, exactly. He
a
can do
thing
anything.
is yeah, a thing is something which exists in reality. So, like, things exist in actuality. Contradictions do not exist. Contradictions are not things.
Right.
So when we say that God does everything, God can do anything, that means God can do anything, but contradictions are not things. So he can't do contradictions
Wait,
because
but
they're
hold
not
on a
really
second.
things.
Why? Okay. A contradiction, right? If I contradict you, right? Like, I'm doing something, am I not?
No, but a contradiction is not a thing. So if I tell you, like, I am a married bachelor, what does that mean? It's a meaningless statement. It does not mean anything. Because I cannot be married and a bachelor, which means that I am not married at the same time.
Yeah, okay, that's correct, yes.
Okay, so contradictions don't exist in reality. They're not things. It's not a thing. It's
No,
like
right, but
it's.
can't God have the power to supersede reality?
But what do you mean supersede reality? Can God cause something which is
If
not
God
a thing?
if God, right, if God is the reason why we're all here and he created everything, can't he have the power to like supersede us and do whatever he
We
wants?
we don't say that God
Yes, yes, he
performs
does. Yes, he
logical
can.
contradictions.
He said in the Quran, if I wanted to, I can make all of you as one. Yes, he can. But you only
Okay,
know
so
on
then,
what you know. We're at a level where we know only what we know. You do not know what God is. God is unimaginable. You don't know how he thinks versus your thinking. He gave us the facts, so we follow the facts.
okay.
So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize this. The stuff you're asking, I mean, it's understandable. There are plenty of people ask them same questions, but you're at a level where you're just going to keep throwing yourself away.
Yeah,
You got to know that,
but
that we're not here for no reason. We are here for a reason.
I mean, okay, can God lift a stone? Or no, I'm sorry, can God make a stone he can't lift?
yeah, see, this is the problem. Like you keep going back to things which are not real, like they're not really like things, right?
No,
When
I
you're
know, but
saying that can God create something, that means by definition, that means God has power over it. And then you're saying within the same sentence, can God create something which he does not have power over? So can God have power over something which he does not have power over? It's the contradiction is within the sentence. You're saying something and then you're saying its negation at the same time. And those two things cannot exist simultaneously. That's what a contradiction is.
okay. I again,
Yeah,
this
like
is
this is I mean I've obviously we've all come across those puzzles before. They're sort of, you know, like tongue twisters or like catchphrases that atheists would like to say to, like, you know, like bring some doubt onto the, you know, like notion that God is all powerful. Well, can God create something that he can't lift? But
yo. Wait, hold
if you
on a second.
dissect it,
Who's counting to three with Christians? I'm not a Christian, bro.
no, but that's sort of like what the stream is about. So I
Oh,
guess
okay.
maybe if we get some Christians, we'll try to count to three with them. But yeah,
Yeah.
like this is why, for example, Christianity cannot be true. It cannot possibly be true.
Why can't
Judaism, for
Judaism
example,
be
we
true?
have, yeah, Judaism, we have other problems with Judaism. Namely, for example, they claim that they follow this book. They follow the Old Testament, and we just have no way of attesting or verifying that the books within the Old Testament were actually preserved, or that they were that they are attributed to the rightful authors. For example, the book of Daniel, is it truly written by the prophet Daniel? The book of Isaiah, is it truly written by the prophet Isaiah? The five books of the Torah, the Pentateuch, are they truly written by Moses? Right? And if you look at textual critics, modern textual critics, they say that there's no possible way of linking some of those books. In fact, some of them would say that no, like for example, the Pentateuch seems to have been written by four different authors, right? Now, I'm not making those claims. Like this isn't a Muslim just bringing this up based on my own reading. You know, like I'm looking at what the scholars have to say. And at times those are like Jewish scholars, Orthodox Jewish scholars that recognize that, okay, that there are these problems, but we have a living tradition that, you know, like that they sort of hedge their bet on. But it's not good enough for me. When you look at Islam in comparison, like we follow the Quran, but we have a direct chain that links the Quran that we have today back to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. So during his time, he's reciting the same exact Quran that we have today.
Okay.
So when you look at like the court of law, how we prove things true in court, when we are assessing testimony, right, to prove whether testimony is true or not, and if the testimony is the person testifying is not present, they would have to have a chain of custody for the testimony to be valid or even accepted. So we qualify things within the structure that they supposed to be qualified. To me, it's just simple concepts that they use, like term father, and they're not consistent with these concepts.
I think he must have gotten a phone call or something. He dropped off.
Like, they don't get giving God the identity of a father makes him contingent to begin with.
Yeah, because he must necessarily have a son, right?
Yeah, he would require something outside of himself
We're
to
still
explain why he holds this title of father.
No.
they're still finding miracles till today, and they'll keep finding it because it tells the future in the Quran. They recently found out, I don't know how recent it was, but I seen a video where, I forgot what surah, the Surah Al-Kahf was it, where they sleep in the cave. 309, what's it called, words in that whole surah. SubhanAllah. Like, there's stuff that there's no way it could have just been written. Like, it's true guidance. Allah.
300 and what, sorry?
You know how Allah speaks of how they slept for 300 plus 9 years in the cave?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm not wording it right, the ayat or whatever, just comes out to 309 in that whole surah, the whole chapter, if I'm not mistaken. I seen a video on it. I mean, I didn't do some research it myself, but I'm pretty sure it's true.
What's the miracle that they discovered, I mean?
Like how it's, man, you know what, to be honest with you, I'd have to find this video again to get you the whole full detail on it.
I think basically what he's trying, are you trying to say how hibernation is possible?
No, I'm not even bringing up about that. I'm just saying, like, there was an atheist guy. That's what made him come to Islam when he found out the meaning of the surah, like, and how it was counted out. Yani, the way Allah numbers out things, and the way that where it's at and how it numbers out, it comes out to 300 plus 9. And SubhanAllah, I just ain't explaining it the way I want to try to explain it to you, man. But I see it on this video. I'd have to find it.
Okay. Like there's a certain formulation.
Yes, there's a formula. SubhanAllah, there you go, Ken. There's a formula.
Yeah, like a certain formula that gets to 309, which is the number of years that they slept. Oh, mashallah.
Look into it, you'll see. You'll see it. Yeah.
There are no more Cristianos here, eh?
I think they all turned into atheists.
The atheists left, huh? They're so dumb.
That's funny, dude.
Some atheists be destroying the Christians.
Yeah.
Bro, you gotta understand that those guys, it was a 3 hours debate. Wallahi, man, we started from the monkeys to the conscious. Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah, one time, like I have a...
Any Christian that wants to join and tell us about the Trinity, now is the right time to join. If not, in the next 10 minutes, I will just...
Yeah, I'm going to drop and I'll be back, inshallah. Assalamualaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, we'll give it 10 more minutes actually, bro. Let's go by 10. If any Christian wants to join the live and tell us about the Trinity, it's more than welcome. I think they all disappeared, bro.
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, right, the Bibles, they all came out like 700 years after Jesus, right? Mark, Matthew, Luke, Paul, with all their names, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, no.
Is it?
The earliest full Bible, the earliest codex that they have is Codex Sinaiticus, and it's from 325 or like early 300s, so like early 4th century. That's like the
Yeah,
earliest Bible that they have.
yeah.
But that's the earliest full Bible
Yeah,
that
so it's
like
still
comes
300
Codex
300
years
years.
after.
is the
Yeah, still
no, the
300
Ethiopian
years.
Bible is the oldest actually.
Yeah, really? I'm not sure. I think according
Yeah,
to
yeah, it might
what
be
I've
the
looked at,
Ethiopian
it's
Bible.
Codex Sinaiticus, but
I
I'm
think
not.
the Ethiopian is older. I do Marcel.
So who is the Bach?
What?
The boss?
I see
The
here support the Bach. Why are you laughing? Huh?
We didn't understand what you said, Marcel. Can you please repeat?
Here in the chat in your host and support the Bach.
I am the host.
Yeah, so who is the Bach? Who is this? Is a god? Is a saint?
What?
The Davach, what does it mean, Davach?
Who is Davach, man?
Where are you reading this from?
I see here where you are seeing the
Are you saying
introduction.
who's the boss of the world? The boss or what?
No,
Yeah,
the Davach. What's
yeah.
Davach? Yeah, where are you reading this?
And the
What's the
introduction.
boss?
Let's do the host.
Okay, let's move on from this, Marcel. Are you a Christian?
No, I'm not Christian, I'm spiritual.
Well, where do you
What are
found those
you?
Davach, man?
Huh? And easy Davach,
Dawa.
host, your introduction.
The Dawa. The Dawa.
Oh, Dawa. Okay, Dava.
Dava,
Yeah.
what is that?
Dawa. Dawa means invitation.
Invitation in Arabic or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
invitation
invitation
to
in
the
Arabic.
religion. Yes,
It's invitation to Islam, basically.
Yes. Where are you from, Marcel?
Canada.
Canada.
Do you
And
have
from
any
which
question?
religion? Do you have any question, by the way? Yeah, and like which religion you follow?
Christian Trinity?
You follow the Christian Trinity?
No. Actually, Trinity doesn't exist. Such a thing, Trinity.
Yeah,
Everything
I know. It's fake. I know.
Everything is the oneness in all life, all universe.
All right, but like, which religion do you follow, practice?
No, I don't follow religion. I'm spiritual. It means I'm connected with nature, with everything surrounding me.
That's some sort of paganism, right?
No, it's not paganism. No, it's the doctrine of life, of true life, the universe
The
doctrine.
doctrine of true life. I need to study more about that. I don't know about that topic. Sorry.
The teaching of the true prophet Muhammad.
What?
What?
What did he say?
The doctrine of life, the teaching of the spirit, teaching of light, teaching of truth, brought by the true prophet Muhammad 600 years ago.
You mean 1400 years ago?
Yeah,
1445,
1400 years
46?
ago.
So 1446 years ago. But what are you talking about? Are you here to talk bad about our prophet and your prophet or what?
So wait and listen. There were 6 true prophets, yeah? The prophet Muhammad was the sixth in the 7 line of true prophets. The first one was Enoch, which was born reincarnated 10,000 years ago, was the true first prophet on earth. After him was
So you
Elijah.
follow some type of book, even though you're
After
giving
Elijah
false
was
information.
Isaiah.
But
After Isaiah was Jeremiah. After Jeremiah was Yeshua, Emmanuel, for the Christian they call him Jesus. The son of,
he is Christians. Yeah.
he was a prophet. And Yeshua, he was a prophet.
So you're Christian.
No, I'm telling the true story. I'm not a Christian, I told you.
Yeah, he sounds like a Moor or something.
Yes, listen.
Like Moorish scientific.
After Yeshua, 2000 years ago, he said, after my reincarnation, another prophet will reincarnate, and his name will be Muhammad. Yeah? And 600 years ago, true Prophet Muhammad was reincarnated again. In the fifth,
1400 ago.
whatever, 614
Yeah, how
hours.
that he believes reincarnation.
No, yeah, this guy believes in some type of
Yeah, he's
Baha'ism
All the
or
people, they were talking about
Baha'ism or like some type of Moorish religion.
not resurrection, because everything what is dead doesn't resurrect, doesn't fly, doesn't do nothing. Dead.
Yeah, I'm not usually interested in
It's a
debating
fly.
obscure, and mysterious cults.
After Muhammad, a seventh prophet
yeah.
incarnated, Maya, which is the prophet today. The fifth
I think
prophet.
how that he deals with the jinn. How,
So there were
Yeah, but
seven.
me.
yeah.
Yeah, all these prophets, the same line, brought the same teaching. Teaching of truth, teaching of life, teaching of spirit. The people, they
I
couldn't
don't know about this topic, brother. Honestly, man, your religion, I never heard about that.
Yeah. So all these people in ancient time, they corrupted and they create all these religions, called sects, guru, master, priest, and salvation,
You believe
which
in Allah?
which never is true. Yeah, there is an Allah, there is a God, which everyone is coming from it, everyone is evolving.
Saying, do you believe in Allah?
Yeah, yeah, but not Allah. It's a universal conscious. You can call it Allah. I call it creation. You know.
Creation. How could a
Yeah.
creator be
It
created?
creates lives. It creates lives. Yeah, it creates lives. It creates you. Create human civilization, the universe, the galaxy, the planet, the stars. So it's a spiritual being. It's evolving, and it's expanding. Yeah, through millions, billions, trillions of years of evolution.
What do you, like you believe in aliens or something? Is that what you believe in?
Like humans like us, but more advanced, more evolved in their consciousness, their knowledge, their technology. What you say, extraterrestrial, or whatever you want to call it. They're human like us. They are more knowledgeable than us. So,
Maybe you should get the Quran and read the Quran, maybe.
yeah, I think in Quran it says about Muhammad he had contact with some advanced civilization, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, there's some.
Maybe you should get the Quran, read it, and study it.
I think Muhammad was.
Assalamualaikum, brothers.
I think
وعليكم
Muhammad.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Mr. Max, احكي مع هذا man. Talk to him, please.
Hey, thank you, Rudy. Marcel, I notice a very distinct accent. Are you from Israel?
No, I was born in Europe, but now I live in Canada,
Yeah, where in Europe were you born?
Romania.
Romania?
Yes.
Ce faci, băi, bine?
Bine fac, bine. Tu ce faci?
Interesting. So in Romania, this religious group of yours, I mean, how many adherents do you have?
Like I said, it's not a religion. It's a doctrine of life. So from all
A doctrine of life, based on what?
In ancient time. It's called the teaching of light, teaching of truth, teaching of spirit.
Okay, who's the writer of this teaching of life?
God as a savior. It's about evolution and 100% true responsibility for life.
You're breaking up so much, I can't make it what you're saying, bro. It's a teacher of who? Who's a teacher?
It's the teaching of life, teaching of truth, teaching of spirit. So from all these doctrine of
By
life,
who? That's not what I asked you. That's not what, brother. That's not what I asked you. I asked you a simple question. Who's the author?
so the author that the teaching of the true prophets. One of them, if you are Muslim, is the Prophet Muhammad 600 years ago. The first
who wrote this book, sir? The Prophet Muhammad didn't write any books because he was illiterate and he couldn't read or write. Who wrote the teaching that you're talking about?
Because he was illiterate. Who brought all this Quran? It came from the sky.
Yes, from the sky. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Transhumans came with the flying saucer.
Flying saucer? I mean, listen, if you get high and you believe in,
how come he was
what do you mean? Marcel, time to start being serious. You sound like a grown up, but you're not acting like one. Okay, let's be serious now. Let's be serious now. Okay,
my friend.
You're what?
Now you have problem with the hearing.
Bro, I told you from the beginning there's something wrong with your
Prophet
signal.
Muhammad
It keeps
was the
breaking up.
prophet. I think you are illiterate, not the prophets, the true prophets. I think your knowledge is kind of
Tell me who else is a true. Bro, it's a simple question. Simple question.
the question doesn't make sense because
Thing that you're talking about, who authored it?
your internet is
Okay.
collapsing.
See, when you ask, let me try this. Hold on, Marcel. Let me ask. Wait 1 second. I'll give you an example. Hey, the Pisco, brother Pisco, who's the author of your holy book? And what's the name of your holy book?
The Quran.
The Prophet
And who's the author, Habibi?
Sayyidina
Who's the
Muhammad, I mean,
author?
it came down from Allah, but Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay. See, we have over 2 billion adherents to Islam. We all understand and respect the fact that a man in a desert could not write the miraculous book that it is, the Holy Quran. Your book could be manipulated by AI.
He transmitted by oral. He didn't write. His cousin wrote the Quran, not the Prophet.
Well, I never said he wrote the Quran. You're not listening. You're not listening. He doesn't. It's not about his cousin wrote it. The point. Listen, a lot of people copied it down. When you have somebody who's a boss, you have your secretary write things down, and he's the one who had to put it in oral frame. Okay, but the things you're talking about don't make any sense, brother. You need a lot of help. I mean, you literally created your own belief system.
When you wake up from the confusion, it will make sense, brother.
When you wake up from what?
From your confusion.
What confusion? The Muslims are the least confused people on earth. The least confused. It doesn't get less confusing than this. We believe in one God, and that's it. To hell with everything else.
So that's why they kill each other. Israel and Palestine, everywhere they're killing each other because they can't.
It's not. No. Listen, we're help. Listen, I'll explain it to you. You misunderstand. First of all, don't say the K word on TikTok because you'll get banned or you get us banned. We don't want to play that stupid game. Number one. Number two, we're not unaliving. Oh, I'm talking, Marcel. I'm talking. I give you time to talk, and I will take my time to talk. We're not unaliving each other, sir. Some people need to go see God immediately. We're just facilitating it. That's all. Okay? You step out of line, you bring injustice into the world, you get to go talk to God right away.
No God is coming to save your mess.
No God is going to come what?
You have problem with me, my friend.
Yeah, brother, listen, it's your stupid phone. There's something wrong with your stupid phone, and there's something wrong with you, too. So I don't know what to tell you. You're not talking to your phone properly. Talking to your phone properly, I don't have to ask 20 times.
I said, no God is coming to save nobody.
Okay, good. So what happens when you die?
So we are here to learn, to become true human beings, or we die.
Did you understand the question? Did you understand the question? I said, what happens when you die?
Be patient. That's why you live, to learn to be patient. So after we die...
You're answering a question I didn't ask, though, Marcel.
After we die...
You're answering a question I didn't ask.
Just wait. I'm talking. I'll answer you. After we die, we become immortal energy, and then we reincarnate back in a new person, a new life, a new learning.
Yeah.
This is the...
Oh, so you're a Hindu. Oh, so I guess it's right, actually. You know what, Brother Easy, you have the wrong one up. The counting, hold on. This counting to 3 with Christians is the wrong one. You should put up the one regarding paganism. He's some sort of a pagan Hindu.
It's an old religion, Hindu, like over 8,000 years. Still, it's corrupted. It has errors, misunderstandings. So forget about him. Forget about Buddhism. I told you, it's the doctrine.
Oh, your religion?
The teaching of the true prophets from Enoch, first prophet, to Muhammad, and the last one, the seventh, Edward Albert Meyer.
Yeah, that's I don't know, man. Maybe you should put a video together to help. No, seriously, Steve. Bro, put a video together. Put a video together so somebody can analyze it for you and give you a recommendation, maybe prescription for medication. Consider it, please. YouTube is a free open source.
You wake up from your confusion.
There's no confusion. I explained it to you already. The least confused religion in the world is Islam. I mean, this is why we are the fastest growing religion in the world. If you believe there's a God, then you believe God put us on a path. He gave us guidance somehow, some way. Our only job is to serve God alone, only, and Himself only. That's it. And to bring the rest of mankind to Islam, the submission of God alone. Period. Doesn't get any simpler than that. If you can do that, fantastic. You can't do that, brother? I don't know what to tell you. I mean, best of luck on your aliens and UFOs and your I don't know how many prophets you got. Best of luck to you. What can I say? Go make a video, at least entertain somebody on YouTube. Maybe you get paid something. Who the hell knows? Habibi, do you have anything else? Anybody else that can actually, formulate something?
There is no Christian.
I think they've all become Muslim, Habibi. Our job is almost complete, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, sir.
Today it's been 16-hour stream. Nice.
MashaAllah, brother. God bless you guys. Did you bring anybody shahadas, Habibi? Any shahadas, inshallah?
No, today no, bro. Today no. Just debate.
Okay. It's okay. That's okay. No problem at all.
Allah guides whoever He wants, bro.
Inshallah. What can we do, brother? Anything about news? You hear anything about Palestine?
I mean, I heard that Iran is raising the black flag, bro. That's crazy, man.
What does the black flag mean exactly?
You don't know the black flag in the Khorasan?
I mean, I think I know that there's a black flag of the Khawarij, but I mean, I found out yesterday that the boys in Lebanon raised the red flag and they call it the flag of rage. I'm not into all the colors. I don't know what all the different colors mean, bro.
The black
so I know the Khawarij.
Imam Mahdi, bro.
Imam Mahdi meaning what? Meaning they have the Mahdi? They found the Mahdi?
I don't know, dude.
I don't know. That's what
I seen 5 different people in TikTok claiming that they are the Mahdi, bro.
Oh shoot!
The Mahdi. That's not how the Mahdi comes, though. But it's gonna be like they say that's in the Hadith when the black flags from Khorasan start marching. That's when you look for the Mahdi. But
I mean, there is
right
right
whoever
now,
is supposed to be in Mecca, so.
because there is right now.
That's where they give it to.
Wasn't that in Khorasan? In the Khorasan. I heard
Khorasan is
in the
like
Khorasan.
where it's by the Afghanistan and
Iran.
between Afghanistan and
It's in Iran. It's in Iran. That's what I remember hearing too.
Iran. I'm telling you.
But yeah, I believe you, bro. I believe you. But just I think there's also, of course, a tie-in into Syria. There's also a tie-in in Syria, Damascus, and there's something that's supposed to happen there, of course, where Sayyidina Isa, the Prophet ﷺ, is supposed to come down with the Mahdi. But see, to me, I think we're going a little bit too far. I think we need to concentrate on a caliphate. I think that this is step number 1. The world is not going to stand and respect anybody if you don't have a leader. And once we get a leader, we can try to get the Ummah united, inshallah. That's what I'm for. That's my number 1, agenda, inshallah. We need a caliphate, and when Mahdi comes later, the Prophet comes later, all that stuff. But let's concentrate on finding.
Ahi, who knows that if we got the time for doing that, bro? Who knows, Ahi?
Habibi, this was the instruction from the Prophet ﷺ and whatchamacallit, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We were supposed to have leaders, I mean, listen, I don't know if I told you, I got...
In this end time, bro, in the end of time, who knows if you have the time to find the leader, Ahi?
Habibi, it doesn't make any sense. What do you mean it doesn't? Who knows if you have the time? There is no other option. There's really no other option. I mean, it's like a snake without a head. I mean, you have to have a head to know which direction to go into. It just doesn't make sense for it not to have a head. This should be the number 1 priority.
You want to bring up for the Ummah, bro? All of the massive leader, bro. All of the massive leader of Islam are corrupted leaders in the government. The only good leader was Imran Khan. Imran Khan is inside the jail right now. What do you want more from them? I don't know, bro.
You talking about the one in Pakistan, Imran Khan?
Yeah, Imran Khan was the only based leader, bro.
He's good, brother. I don't have any problems with Imran Khan. He would be an excellent leader, inshallah. But the one I really like, honestly, is Khalid Mashal of the HMS group in Gaza, because alhamdulillah, he's a Sunni, he's a Palestinian, he's in the heart of the thing, and he's already declared, hey, listen, it's time for all of Islam to wake up and to come together and to step forward. I mean, I'm not gonna say
You're talking
anything.
with
I mean, I don't
emotion,
know.
Max, you're talking with emotion, akhi.
Why, Habibi, why?
Because of the
Why do you
sensitive
say that?
topic that is going on right now, akhi.
Believe it or not, I've actually been on other lives, brother, where they've had upwards of 2,000 people talking about the same subject. 2,000 people, and they were saying
brother, all of these random ass lives on TikTok talking about those events are useless. I told you already, akhi. You know what I'm saying? It's just yapping around about two countries. They don't have the balls to go there, fight. They don't know what is the real fight. They do not know what the people are actually surviving or not. They are just yapping around. The only thing you can do is make dua, or otherwise pick a flight and go there, fight for the people. That's the only thing you can do.
Habibi, there's multiple ways to do it. This is unfortunately, I think, negative thinking. There's multiple ways to do it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed something very clearly for us, and it's jihad. He prescribed it upon us, be it small, but by saying a word, or by having a feeling, or by all the way up to making movement, physical movement. So this is prescribed for us. So to tell me all your job is to sit there and just do the dawah, I disagree. Your job is to always strive for the ummah and of Allah to bring everybody to Islam peacefully, inshallah, and to bring justice into the world. That's the job. We worship God, and we bring justice to the world, and the entire world will respect Islam, inshallah. That's my view. I don't make room for cowards. I don't make room for excuses. I don't make room for excuses.
What's stopping you to take a plane and go there, bro? That's my question. If you think about that,
because financially I'm strapped. I'm doing other things that I'm too tied up. I can't do it. But at the minimum, I try to at least make videos. I try to make commentary. I try to do whatever I can digitally until inshallah one day I'm able to. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying.
When I told you the hadith tells you that we are gonna win, akhi, anyways, bro, even if you make a video or not, akhi, you know what I'm saying? Nothing gonna change. It's broad.
I don't know, Habibi. I believe that you have to take a step forward. You can't just sit and wait and say, "Oh, we're guaranteed win," because it sounds same thing the Yahud did when they said, "Oh, this is land is promised to us," and even they went ahead and they took the land. They said, "Yeah, God promised it to us," and they took it. I mean, you have to take some initiative. What can I say? Listen, even the fact that we lost Palestine, I have to learn, and I said, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, because at least it's showing the Ummah what's wrong, what's going on in between us, and where the rot is. So we have to wake up to this stuff. We have to be awake. Who's trying to divide, who's trying to hurt, who's trying to separate, and put us back all together, inshallah. I say Alhamdulillah for everything God, Alhamdulillah, subhanahu wa ta'ala did. We get back on the right track.
Inshallah.
I mean, yeah. Thank you, Queen Bee. Yes, ma'am. Who's this guy here? Nick Powell. Hey, that doesn't apply to me. Okay. Which will be definitely worse. Okay. We got some people. The one nice man is to be ignorant.
You came late, Max.
Like
You came really late, bro. There was a lot of debate today, bro. I was waiting for you, man.
Maybe I was up actually on a Palestinian live, and I was up until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I think 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I was deep in the situation, So arguing, sharing ideas, finding solutions. Honestly, what can I say? I mean, ideally for Palestine, for Gaza, because obviously that's where my heart is wrapped up into right now as a priority for me. The only solution I could think is if they are peaceful Yahud, peaceful Israelis who want to see an end to the slaughter, they can all come down, march to Gaza, okay, in a peaceful manner. Because guess what? The IDF is not going to shoot them. But with all the cameras, with all the everything, and then the people from Gaza will march up out of Gaza, bring down that wall, and get everybody to the hospitals and where they need to go.
All of this
That's
live
my
TikTok, bro, you see about Israeli and Palestine is just cloud chasing. Achi, you still don't understand this, bro.
okay. Perhaps.
This is just cloud chasing. That's what I'm telling you. Like my brother Wardawa told me, the only thing we can do is make dua. That's the only thing.
I disagree, brother. I disagree.
Go pick up your
Yeah.
weapon and go there, brother. What can I say, brother, man?
My weapon is my mind. My weapon is my tongue,
already
brother.
did my war.
Yeah.
My country had already my war, and we finished the war in my country. Achi. This is what I'm gonna say.
Okay. So if it comes again to your country, what are you gonna do?
Defend my country with my blood.
Okay, that's it. Same thing. All I'm saying is this Palestine is a uniting port for the Ummah. That's all I'm saying. This is what unites the Ummah, brings everybody
but
together.
I know, Achi. I'm not saying that. I'm not going against that, but I'm telling you, all of these random ass lives you see on TikTok are just cloud chasing. And if you cannot see it yourself, I don't know what to say, bro. Anyways, the Hadith states that we are gonna win. I follow the Hadith. I follow the Quran.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. More than
I think
this,
we have.
at this moment, I cannot do anything else.
Okay. RV Narang requests if you have something to discuss to see, how close to Christianity Hinduism is and how close to Sikhism, all this stuff is. We have a Sikh in the comments if you'd like to talk to
I
him.
invited him.
Okay.
I can, brother. I understand the situation of the people there, bro. But like as I told before, what can you do, Achi? Are you a billionaire? If I was a billionaire, I would have give money. I would have do something. But honestly, I don't have money to survive myself, Achi. Yeah, I'm tired, Lamari. I'm really tired. It's 16 hours straight live.
Well, God bless you. Your reward is in heaven, inshallah. And you're doing the best you can with what you have. And that's all we could do, brother. Like I said earlier, I have my mind, I have my tongue, I'll use it as much as I can to forward and advance the message. Listen, I talked to somebody the other day. I don't know if I told you. He's an American guy. He was talking shit about Palestine and all that. And I had to set him straight. I told him about the documentary. When he watched the documentary, he was so shocked by it. I saw him going on other comments, telling American people, say, hey, you know what? We were wrong. We were lied to. They told us Israel's our friend. This is no
Those are
friend of ours.
normal stuff. I know this stuff. I know those stuff. I know that those Yahudis changed the history. I know that, Achi. Even if I don't watch the documentary, there was a plan behind the mustache guy. There was something behind that. You gotta understand that they always been. Remember in Spain, history repeats himself, Achi. History repeats himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Spain, Germany, now there. Achi, history repeats himself. I'm not gonna tell you once again. You don't need to watch a documentary. Now I understand that the American IQ goes under 10 IQ, but still, you did a good job. But those people that actually knows what's going on, they have some brain, bro. That's what I'm telling you. Yeah.
Maybe you're assuming everybody's like you. You're assuming everybody can calculate.
Yalla, guys, I'm going to leave. Assalamualaikum is easy and relax. Take it easy. Okay, bye-bye.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother.
They asking you for the documentary in the comment.
Okay. This is something I sent to some Jewish groups, where I was on their thing. So that's what it says. The name of it's called Tantura. This is from the Israeli Jews themselves. They're talking about what happened and how they started the state and all the atrocities they did from their own mouth. So nobody can say, hey, this is a Muslim propaganda, Arab propaganda. No, it's from them. Israeli Jewish documentary. Please share it,
Tantura.
everyone. Share it. Send it to your friends and family.
T-A-N-T-U-R. Tantura documentary.
Tantura. It's on Yes, on YouTube. You'll find it, guys, on YouTube. That you can see the commercial, and then they have some people posted the whole thing for free. It's on there on YouTube. Look for it, please. Once you
Write
see
in the
this, and you'll
comment,
see the
bro.
admissions. I put it already.
Oh, nice.
I put it already. Yeah, I already put it in the comments. Tantura is what it's called. Tantura. But the point being, brother, is people have to physically see, what these IDF soldiers were saying, what they were saying out of their own mouth, and how they were laughing. I've never seen anything so wicked in my life, brother. Never seen anything so wicked. The NAZI party never dreamed, never said anything like what these people were saying. Nothing like it, I swear. And I watched a lot of World War II stuff, black and white stuff. I mean, all about history. I'm addicted to history. They never did nothing like what these people did in this documentary. And from their own mouth, you hear it.
Well, I mean, that's crazy to say, honestly, because we know that the mustache guy did crazy atrocities, bro.
Maybe just when you watch the documentary, just watch the commercial. It takes a minute and a half. Watch the
No, I
commercial.
will watch it
and you
tomorrow,
tell me.
bro. I will watch it tomorrow, no
You should,
problem
bro.
about that. But, like, it's, as I told you, history repeats himself. You know what I'm saying? Who
It
was
does,
the targeted population at 1948? The Yahudis. And from that, it's a domino effect. You understand that? From there, they
Habibi,
received that.
what do you mean? What do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean they were the targeted population? What do you mean by that?
1948, who was the targeted population by the mustache guy?
No. It was before 1948. The mustache guy, and what he did. So 1948, the targeted population was the Palestinians, and it was targeted by the Yahud. They targeted the Palestinians, the Yahud. So before that, it was whatever was happening in Germany, but it's not even the whole story. I'll tell you, believe it or not, you're not going to believe this, but there's actually a book, and it's called Hitler, Jewish Soldiers. That's the name of the book by a guy named Mark Riggs. Believe it or not, in his military, he had over 150,000 Jewish soldiers in his military. Don't take my word for it. Go to Amazon. Look at
That's impossible.
Habibi, you can say it's impossible. He has the names and information of so many of the people from private up to general. Just go look at the book. It's on Amazon, Habibi. See, that's what I'm telling you.
Bro, how can that be possible, Ahi? How can that be possible?
I'm explaining it to you, ya Habibi. Listen, it's an information war. We are in an information war. Everything we were taught was a lie. Just like I'm telling you. This person, he wrote a book, and if you look for it, there's other books, but they were banned. In Europe, these things get banned because you're not even allowed to say the word HOL. You know what I'm going to say. You're not even allowed to say the word. People go to prison. There's actually professors in Canada, professors in Europe who are historians. They wrote multiple books, and they were dumb enough to try to talk about the situation, and they ended up in prison. Okay, and I forget what the word they call them. Holocaust deniers. Just type in Holocaust deniers in prison, Holocaust deniers in jail. Google it and see what happens. There are professors and authors who wrote about this thing. When they did the investigation, said, "Oh, it's not at all what happened, like they told us. Not at all." Yeah, it's shocking.
I mean, brother, you can say that for the URSS, but like honestly, thinking about that for the SS is unbelievable. Not gonna lie.
Okay, brother. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying I don't believe you, but like logically thinking, it goes against the mustache guy. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Okay, but at least examine the evidence. Let's not be, like so many Israelis where they won't even look at the evidence of history to examine it to say yes, whether it's right or wrong. I say we don't have this luxury. We have to examine the history, especially since
Send
we're
me the
paying the
name of
price.
that book in the comments. Send me the name of the book in the message. Tomorrow I will buy it. Inshallah.
However, you could buy it. You can look it up. Absolutely, it's on Amazon. I saw it there. Here, okay. Here, I'm typing
And by
it in
who
there
is
for you.
brought also, I need to know, bro.
Mark Ripp, I think. Mark Ripp, I believe is the guy's name. RIPP. Jewish soldiers. Yeah. That's the name of it right there. Yeah. And he wrote multiple books about this subject. Of course, he got censored very heavily. And, the book is not allowed in so many European countries. Okay, and I believe Canada as well. So maybe the only place you'll find it is in the U.S., but I know for sure that it was on Amazon. That's where I saw the thing. Yeah.
All right.
Ant-Man. Welcome, Ant-Man.
Hey, what's up? What's up, bro?
Hey, yo,
How you doing,
Ant-Man,
brother?
why you
Everything good?
report me, dog? Just because you lose debate, man.
Report you.
Yeah, I
No,
know you
report you,
reported
bro.
me today, man. Don't be like you didn't do this, man. I know that you are the guy that can do that.
I wouldn't do that to you, my friend.
So did you figure out which is the equalness in the Trinity?
No, yeah. That's the nature of God. None of us can define the nature of God, bro.
Bro,
None of us can what?
how can God be author of confusion, dude?
The funny part is he said none of us can do what?
I'm not Muslim, bro, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yo, this guy is trying to balance it off on us, bro. Listen to me. In my religion, we don't have confusion. In your religion, you have three aspects that goes inside one essence, bro. What is this, man?
Um, No one,
Ant-Man
even
is...
in Islam, you guys don't know the nature of Allah. So I don't know what's the problem here in Christianity.
Oh
we have
my
proof.
days, the
We
same
have proof,
arguments.
Habibi.
I told you the manhaj. I already told you the manhaj today.
No, because
Listen, we have the...
in the hadith it says
Ant-Man.
that Muhammad saw the finger of Allah. So
Oh my days.
you guys can't debate that, you know.
Listen, nothing. Listen, I will tell you once again, okay? Because it's crazy how many times I told you these arguments. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a head, but it's nothing like his creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a finger, but it's nothing like his creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has two hands, but it's nothing like his creation. There is nothing in his creation that can be compared to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the way manhaj.
Okay. So what creature has a hand?
Oh my days, man. Why you so dumb, brother? Why you keep going on these Islamophobic lives, bro?
Oh, no. This is not Islamophobic. I'm just asking a simple question. I
Bro,
just want a simple answer.
okay, bro, but this question is so dumb, dude. It's like when I asked
No,
you,
it's not too dumb.
dude, it's
Like
like
how,
when,
like
Ant-Man, it's
what
5
I'm just,
a.m. It's 5
what
a.m. in my country, okay?
oh, okay,
Chill,
okay. But what I'm
chill.
trying to say, brother, what I'm trying to say, my friend, is that when Muhammad saw that what he saw, how did he know that it was a finger?
Bring me the reference.
How did he know if it was if Allah has body parts
Bro,
that
bring me the
cannot be
reference.
compared to anything?
Bring me the reference, please.
Oh my goodness. I don't have my notebook with me, but I do believe it's in the Hadith because I read it before.
But which one? There are millions.
It's All I do know for sure, brother, that it's a Sahih hadith. It's Sahih.
Write me in
I'm
the
not sure if
comments
it's in
once you see.
Bukhari or Muslim, but
Yeah, even
I
if
do
it's
know that
Sahih,
it's Sahih.
even if it's Sahih, you need to read it in the right way. You know, so in the right way. Even if it's Sahih, because otherwise you're not gonna learn it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I do believe that there's a hadith that talks about it because I read it before, but I'm just saying.
All right. Did you see that the Sahih that you're saying, if it's really Sahih? Did you check it?
Well, if your scholar says it's Sahih, doesn't that mean it's
No.
Sahih?
There are 7 Sahih. There are 7 Sahih. There are Daif. Okay. You didn't know this? 7 hadiths in the Sahih are Daif. All right. Can you understand the Quran without the hadiths? Yes, you can. If you are a genius, for course, for sure, bro. Like me.
May I?
Yeah, Coleman. How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Ant-Man.
Hey,
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm being argumentative, combative, or anything. What is your interest? Is it a personal interest in studying the Quran, or I'm just because you seem to be studying it somewhat? I'm just wondering what your
No,
interest is
bro,
behind that.
he just wants to debunk us,
So,
man. Nothing else besides that.
I was interested in the Quran until like I just found some stuff that so it really doesn't make sense to me.
Ex-wife of someone else. Listen, Ant-Man.
So I read the
No,
whole chapter 19 and the whole chapter 20 of the
listen
Quran.
to me. It's
Hey,
not because you do not
hello?
understand it. It's not because you do not understand it that you're gonna debunk
Hello?
Islam. Hello, Davis. How you doing?
I got a question for Easy Dawa.
Please tell me, bro.
Question for Easy Dawa.
Okay. Please
Is
tell
that
me.
you?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. It says in your bio, smile at Sunnah.
Yes.
Why do you need a guy that you never met 1,400 years ago telling you it's good to smile?
Are you a Christian?
Nope.
Are you a Jew?
Nope.
Are you a Hindu?
Nope.
What religion are you?
Atheist.
You are an atheist?
Yup.
From who you got your morals from?
No, I asked your question first, though. Why you need a dude that you never met to tell you it's okay to smile? That just make no sense.
Because is it bad to smile?
No, but why you need someone to tell you that it's okay to smile?
I mean, it's sunnah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Even if I didn't know that it's sunnah, I would have smiled still. You know what I'm saying?
So do you have to like check it? Everything you do that it's sunnah? Like you just like do a checklist?
Yeah, it's sunnah. But yeah, like your question is why do I
ingin mendengar dari Bang BAB minimal lah
naikin Joya Arya dong.
halaman pertama.
Gue pengen ngadu
Enggak
ilmu
halaman
keislaman.
pertama. Enggak halaman pertama dari surat Al-Baqarah 5 ayat atau berapa itu? Silakan.
Nggak bisa. Gua tadi kan udah sampein. Sampaikanlah walau cuma 1 ayat. Udah gue sampein tuh tadi alif lam mim 1 ayat dalam surat Al-Baqarah.
Enggak, saya mintanya 5 ayat. Gua
mau sama pahala. Gimana kalau sisanya 285 ayat gue serahin sama barokah deh. Monggo lanjut.
Alhamdulillah. Allah. Nanti dilanjutkan ya yang 5 ayat ya.
285 ayat silahkan ambil semua buat barokah pahalanya.
Saya baca aja dah daripada nanti saya lupa gitu kan kadang